The original Skullgirls was just delisted from the Xbox Store, and fans are unhappy. Over the last few months, Skullgirls have come under heavy fire from some fans over what they deem to be censorship. The internet reacted quickly when Encore announced that they would change the game. If you are unaware, censorship in video games has been a hotly contested topic for many years. There is an ongoing trend within the gaming community where certain publishers update and remove or censor offensive content. Typically, this type of content involves that of a suggestive nature. Most publishers who censor the games call it updating for a modern audience. This is a widely unpopular phrase, and most people know exactly what it means. Skullgirls, in particular, showcases certain types of imagery that some find problematic. Revenge Labs made a statement recently in which they revealed that they would be removing overly sexualized content and specific imagery that hate groups inspire. The decision from Encore and Revenge Lab was met with mostly negative feedback on Steam. However, the developer and publisher decided to stand firm in the decision. The first point of contention was the red armbands that certain characters wore. Some stated that these were World War II-inspired armbands. The second piece of content people took exception to was a few unflattering skirt shorts for a woman character called Philia. Some pointed out that Philia was 16, so this was inappropriate. While most people were against this decision, a few people also thought these changes were a positive. Others stated that it was a minor issue being taken out of proportion. Before I break down each of these arguments, let's just take a few steps back. The issue of censorship is once again showing its head. Recently, it was revealed that Skullgirls will be removed from the Xbox 360 store. While this might not sound like a major deal, it does hold some significance. The Xbox 360 version of this game is currently the only place where you can still play this title unedited. The current Xbox Series consoles have backward compatibility, and thus, many chose to play the 360 version instead of the current Gen 1. Since the Series consoles also have FPS boosts and backward compatibility optimization, the Xbox 360 version plays precisely like any current general game. The fact that this version of the game is being removed from the Xbox Store is making plenty of fans uncomfortable. Many feel that the old general version of the game is being discontinued to prevent fans from playing the original. It is uncertain if this is the case, but given their track record, you can't put it past them. When the censorship debate started, the publisher and developer were very clear. If you have an issue with the changes, you are the problem. This issue became even more heated when reviews on Steam were removed. To express their frustrations, some fans updated the positive to negative reviews. Steam regarded these as unrelated reviews and locked all of them. Fans considered this as a step too far, as viewing your displeasure of these changes is related to the game. If you change the game's visuals, it is clearly related to the player experience. Preventing fans from voicing the displeasure will not help the censorship allegations. While there are plenty of people against what Skullgirls are doing, there are also those defending the decision. These defenders state that the changes to the game are minor and should not matter. Defenders of these changes will often question why it is so important for you to be able to see certain characters in revealing positions. Furthermore, they will point to the characters' ages as justification for the position. As stated earlier, it is believed that Philia is 16. Thus, if you do not like the game's censorship, it is because you are creepy. It is worth noting that these same people complain about every video game girl who wears a skirt. Only in this case can they use the age as an excuse. To point out the obvious, it is worth stating that these fictional characters are not real. While it does not give you an excuse to be creepy, these made-up ages are less relevant to your argument than you might think. That is not to say that over-sexualizing a clearly underage video game character is not creepy. However, the red armbands are probably a far worse overreaction. While we can all agree that they are obviously referencing World War II, that should not matter. These characters are portrayed as evil, and the red armband is there to drive that point across. It is no different from a Call of Duty game, which has even more direct imagery. While Skullgirls has the right to make any changes to their games, they need to at least understand where some of the concern is coming from. While the complaints might feel silly to you, many fans simply do not like what it represents for content moving forward. As stated, there are plenty of people who are stating that minor changes like this should not matter. In all honesty, these people are correct. However, the opposite can also be said. If these changes are so small that they should not matter, then why are you calling for these changes to be made? Most people simply do not like any changes to games due to political or social reasons. In all honesty, if the developers made these changes without announcing them, most people likely would not have noticed. Those who did notice would have been ignored. However, when you release a long statement about how stunning and brave you are for making these changes, it is then when people push back. They do this because they know what it means. When you say you are making minor changes in order to be more sensitive for a modern audience, it tells people how you think. Small changes now give people an indication of what your content will look like in the future. Any new content that Skullgirls brings out moving forward will likely be riddled with certain messaging. In fairness, this is all speculation on my side, but it is hard not to jump to that conclusion. However, I will say once again that they have the right to push this game in any direction they want. If I, as a player, do not like the changes that they make, I will simply move on to a new game. However, there is still a sense of sadness for fans who are long-time players. It is not always that easy to just move on. While Skullgirls being removed from the Xbox 360 store is not the end of the world, it does close a certain chapter for the game. The uncensored version of the game no longer exists. Most people at this point have already forgotten all about this situation. Those who wanted to leave did, and the rest of the people stayed.